Hey there! Today I want to talk to you about the importance of the NEA and what $147.9 million means to the arts. You may have heard that the NEA, or the National Endowment for the Arts, is on the chopping block for the current administration's budget proposal. You know, this isn't the first time it's happened, but I, for one, am worried that it could be the last, and not in a positive way. So in this video, I'm going to share the benefits of the NEA, explain why some people oppose it, and what you and I can do to keep it going. Alright, so the National Endowment for the Arts is a federal agency, which means US taxpayer money goes to funding the arts. That sounds like a great thing, right? Even if you hate taxes, you're really only paying about 46 cents a year to make a monumental impact on the arts in America. That's not too much, is it? But what exactly does your 46 cents do? Well, that money is awarded to arts organizations all across the country. In fact, in 2015, they awarded 2,300 grants across every single congressional district in America. And once an arts organization receives NEA funding, that helps lift them up and put them on the larger art world radar. From there, they typically receive more funding, both from private and public sources. And no, it's not just big US art hubs like New York, LA, or San Francisco that benefit. We're talking everywhere, from a concert for LGBTQ youth in St. Paul, Minnesota, to collaborative theater work between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Arizona artists in Tucson, and even spoken word artist residencies in Chattahoochee Hills, Georgia. And in addition to that, about $47 million also gets passed along to state agencies so that they can award grants to community organizations and programs in the arts. Now you might be wondering, why does the current administration want to cut it? That's a good question, but first of all, I think we need to accept that certain people just don't appreciate the arts in the same way that we do. If they did, they'd have no problem seeing the immense economic and cultural benefits that the arts bring to our country. Arts and culture in America added $698 billion to the US economy in 2012, and it produces 4.7 million jobs. So think about that in comparison to the NEA's budget that amounts to only 0.004% of federal spending in the fiscal year. So clearly, federal spending on the arts is by no means a waste of taxpayer money, which leads to the argument that the arts don't really need federal funding to begin with. That makes sense, but remember when I mentioned that the NEA helps draw in additional funding for the arts? For each dollar awarded by the NEA, about 7 of private or other public funding is also contributed. So some lawmakers don't believe that removing that first dollar will make a big difference. But in reality, removing that first dollar that acts like a beacon to other investors, could drastically change the amount of money that is contributed to the arts every year and the allocation of funding across the country. Grants awarded by the NEA help identify organizations that are making a significant impact in their community, and not just those that are in already strong art markets. Okay, so let's move on to the next argument. So back in 2014, lawmakers were concerned that the NEA was taking money from poorer communities and putting that in richer ones. And this was based on the assumption that the arts are just a pastime for the rich. Clearly, this is a wild misconception. The NEA typically awards grants to economically diverse communities with a similar number of both wealthy households and households below the poverty line, plus everything in between. And a study done by the National Center for Arts Research found that there was absolutely no correlation between art attendance and median household income. So since all of those arguments can pretty easily be debunked, a lot of people still fall back on the good old NEA controversies. So back in the day, the NEA used to provide a small number of grants to independent artists who certain politicians did not appreciate. Some of those artists were perceived as controversial and certain taxpayers didn't want their money to going to something they opposed. Included amongst those artists were Robert Mapplethorpe and Andre Serrano. But to make sure those problems didn't happen again, the NEA stopped giving grants to independent artists back in the 1990s. And now most of the money goes to arts organizations, educational programs, and other things like that. So now that you understand some of the arguments against the NEA, let's talk about what we can do to make sure that it stays intact. The most effective thing that you can do right now is call your representatives. Unlike executive actions, the federal budget has to be passed by the House and the Senate before it can be turned into law. And guess what? Your representatives are supposed to be there for you. So let them know how you feel, write them letters, give them calls, send them emails. Do what you can do to get their attention. If you need more resources on how to reach out to them or what to say when you call, you can click right here. And the next thing that you can do is try to find arts organizations that are already mobilizing in your community to take a stand for the NEA. I can assure you they will be happy to hear from you and happy for your support. And lastly, if you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it. The more people that understand what the NEA does and why we need to continue funding it, the better. If you want to learn more, you can visit my blog, and thank you for watching.